we got here. We see that this lesson again. And read it. What do we have on that 22nd verse?
And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok.
Now look what happened. He rose up with how many wives? 2 wives. You know, sometimes when you play a trick, that trick can be played on you. Right here, the trick was played on him. What was the trick? He had got his brother's birthright. He had got the blessing from his dad. And then he had ran for 20 years. He ran. Now in that 20 years ran, he ran and he found him a wife. But here comes the trick part. When he got to there and saw this beautiful woman, which was Rebecca, he went to her dad. The dad told him, yeah, you can have her after 7 years. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's make a trick. 7 years he worked. In the end of the 7 years, they got ready for the marriage. And where come right now? They said, it's not good, men, to get high, you try to get drunk, and you lose what's going on in your mind. So here comes the trickster that the dad-in-law played on him. It says when they got ready to get married, he opened the veil, and who was there? The wrong one. Leah was there. So what happened? That dad-in-law had played a trick on him. He first told him that you could get Rebecca. But the catch was to say that you couldn't get her because Leah was the oldest. What right? You had to get her because she was the oldest. You know, he didn't tell him that in the beginning. What he told him, you work 7 years and you can have her. But what happened? He got tricked. So it's not good to try to trick somebody because that same trick can come back on you. He wasn't expecting that. So what did he do? He had to work 14 years and then he ended up with how many wives? 2 wives. That's what the 2 wives come in from, by being tricked. It's not good. Always, somebody's got something for you. His dad-in-law tricked him. So the trickster got tricked that time. Now, in this part right here, it says that he was already running. He was running from his brother. Why was he running from his brother? Because he had tricked his brother. Why was he running from his dad-in-law? Because he had tricked his dad-in-law. He had tricked him. Remember about the little spotted calf, what he done? How he did that and got all those cattle? He got rich on doing something like that. Old Jacob was a trickster. But what Jacob did, know that he got caught up in his own game. The game that you play is not good. If it's not done for God, you need to leave it alone. But he thought he was doing it because all his life, he's been nothing but a trickster. He was born to be a trickster. That name Jacob, that's a trickster and deceiver. And look what happened like him. It says that night, he sent everything away. Read it, and what the nation tell us.
And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had.
Think it again. He knew that behind him was his brother. Behind him was the dad-in-law. So he took everything he had and sent them over. Now here's to show you how smart he was. He divided it into 2. What do you think he said? Well, if Esau was to kill one set, I still have another set. Now who's missing in this thing? God. He didn't say anything about God. This is what who's thinking. The old trickster's thinking. This is what he's thinking about what he can do. What is it? He's at the devil. He's thinking about what he can do, not thinking about what God can do. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send him over. 2 camps of him. He's at night. Now what I like about this thing here, the late part there. He said this was at night, and he'd been placed, and it said this river here, this was a strong river that he had to cross. So he got to cross, when was it? At night. And read them, what did the nation tell us about in the night?
And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
Now here's the good part. He had sent everybody away. And when you go back and read chapter 12, that he had prayed. Now he sent everybody away, he alone. I always say it's best to be alone. That's when you can talk to God. How many of you all have a secret place that you can talk to God? That nobody there but you and God? No disturbance. So right here, Jacob was left alone. Nobody but Jacob and God. You know, I find myself in the bathroom. That's my place. When I get in the bathroom, I sit down and I talk to the Lord. Nobody but the Lord. And I also find myself when I'm walking out there by myself, I can talk to the Lord. You need to have a place that you can talk to the Lord. Even this old trickster had a place that he can talk to the Lord. He said he was left alone. He had sent everybody away. Because sometimes when you got people there, they may interfere with your connection between you and God. So when you find a place that you can talk to God all by yourself, nobody but you and God, and the good thing about it, he won't tell nobody what you're saying, nobody but him. And here's this little trickster right here. He's talking to God. Now he's talking to God, but he wants God to protect him from two people. His dad-in-law and his brother. Those people that he talked to God about. But he didn't know what happened. And then look what this verse said. He began with a wrestle. What we said this morning, he wrestled with a man. Now, what is that man? The man that he wrestled with. Can you imagine? Who is the man that he wrestled with? We have people saying different things. Who do you think the man was? God. Deacon said Satan. Anybody else have an idea? I know you're big. Who was he wrestling with? He come by himself and he wrestled with a man. He wasn't expecting about it. Wrestled with Jesus. I like it. He wasn't expecting about it. Some of them say he thought it might have been somebody Esau had sent, but it wasn't. When you read about it, what it said that this was God. He manifested himself into his son Jesus there. Like he said, he was wrestling with God that night. Isn't that something? This man wrestled with God. Wrestled with God. I have read nobody down. Nobody else has wrestled with God. Jacob wrestled with God. He wrestled with God. God manifested himself. Some of them said an angel, but it couldn't have been an angel because they don't want to tell you why it couldn't have been an angel. It had to be nobody but God that he wrestled with. He wrestled with not part-time, but how long did he wrestle with him? All night. What's that song said? All night. All night. He wrestled with him all night. What's that song? All night he had a wrestle with man. And he wrestled with God. Could you believe that? This man is wrestling with God all night long. The earth said, I read to the break of day. He jumped ahead of us. But that was a wrestle man. Can you imagine? Here is this man here, a wrestling with another man. And the man ended up to be God. Not only was that God, but we're going to find out what happened to this man when he wrestled with God. That lets you know that Jacob had a lot of stuff in him. That it took him all night. Did it really take him all night to do that? It did. Because God had a plan already. There was a purpose for Jacob to do this here. When he wrestled with this mystery that he knew who it was. But then as you get to this lesson here, as we come to the next month, we're going to find out about this wrestling man. Because if you think about Jacob had been wrestling all his days. Jacob began wrestling when he was in the womb. Who was he wrestling with in the womb? His brother? Nobody. So Jacob had a wrestle. And they said to use that word wrestling there, he always wrestled something. Jacob always had to struggle with something. And here we go right here. That night, he prayed and he wrestled with God. And we got a question here to tell us about that. Anybody else got something to say about that? This wrestling match that he had. Well, the question says, how do you struggle lead to deeper? No, not really.
We got two more.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Rick. I'm going to jump to you. Thumbs up. Come on, Rick.
You want me to read both of them?
Go ahead, both of them.
Okay. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
Look what happened. Look what happened. He wrestled all night with him. Do you think that he could have won this battle from the beginning? You don't think so? Who could have won? Which one? Jacob didn't win from the beginning. Why? It was God. Mm-hmm. So you can't beat God. But why did he wrestle all night? For himself? What is it? To change Jacob. So he took him all night to change Jacob? He let Jacob come to himself to let him know who he was. So he took him all night to do that. All night. He wrestled him. To let Jacob come to himself. To let Jacob find out that I am still who? I am still God. So he wrestled with Jacob all night. And when he finished, he decided that since you won't let go, what did he do to him? Before he blessed him, what did he do? He did what? He touched him. Couldn't he touch him from the beginning? Yeah. He could have touched him from the beginning. But he didn't. He wanted Jacob to wrestle with him to see, to let him know that I'm still God. All night he wrestled with him. And when he got finished, he just touched that thigh. And they say, from touching that thigh, there was a limp. You know what came to my mind? If I could limp into heaven, I want to limp into heaven. Wouldn't that be something? If God just touched me and let me limp on into heaven, let me do that. If I go into heaven with one eye, let me go there. If I go into heaven with one arm, let me go there. Because I just need to go with where God is. And what happened? Right here. The point was proven on Jacob there. When he touched Jacob, and Jacob ended up with that limp didn't go away. That limp stayed there for Jacob there. Now, as I read about that hollow right there, it says that Israel right now, the Jews, they don't eat that part of the meat because of that limp that Jacob had. They refused to eat that. What do we eat? Everything. No, but they won't eat that part there because of what happened to Jacob back there. That limp there. That was a hollow, and all he did was just touch it. Wasn't that something? Now, you wrestle all night. You touch it. And then, not only did it touch it, but Jacob said he wasn't going to let it go. I like that. Jacob wasn't going to let it go. What did that tell me? You need to hold on to God. Hold on to God, he said, unchanging hand. No matter how bad things get, you need to hold on to God, unchanging hand. Because Jacob said he going to hold on till he got blessed. Not only did Jacob get blessed, but that means when you read about that, something else happened with that blessing from Jacob. And Jacob didn't realize that. Now, some of them say that Jacob won. Did he win? He didn't win. God allowed him to do that. But what he did, he won to be right. Because before then, Jacob was nothing but a what? A trickster. So he won to be right because he was doing all wrong. And when God touched him and corrected him, that's when Jacob began to change like that. And we continue to read that stuff when we talk about Jacob there. And I just got so fascinated when I read about that there. All he did was just touch it and broke it. And now we're ready for my question then. The question says, how do you struggle lead to deeper spiritual insight and a more meaningful relationship with God when accepted from his perspective? How is your struggle to make you struggle with God? What struggle did you have? When you get stronger, I tell you what, when you down at your lowest and you know there's nowhere to go, there's a struggle right there. But who do you turn to when you struggle? You turn to God. So your struggle, just like his struggle, will make you stronger when you have that belief that God will do what he said he's going to do. Do you have to struggle to get there? We do. Sometimes we struggle to get there, and that's what God do to get our attention. When everything is going good, who's on the back one? God is on the back one. He said, say to them, but when things is going good in your life, you forget about God. When did God come in? 2 years ago, we had this virus. When he here, we had a lot of people that struggled, wasn't struggling. But then again, when that came in, what did they begin to do? They began to struggle. And who did they turn to? God. Some of them. Always going to be some of them. But some of the ones that left, they always going to come back to God. That's what he said. When you know God, and you know what God can do for you, the struggle doesn't mean much. I know when I get to the mountain, God will give me strength to climb that mountain. No matter what mountain come in your life, you know that God. Sometimes that struggle, that mountain comes by sickness. You know, you get down so sick that nobody can do anything for you. Who do you call on? God. So that's a struggle right there. What happened?
Keep on going.
He said you got to keep going. You never stop. This is the thing that we never stop the race. The race is not given to the swift. One that do what? Hold out. And what does that mean? I'm going to struggle. I'm going to turn it all over to God because God is always listening. Sometimes God has to put us down to get us up. Isn't that something? He put you down to bring you back up. And I began to look and think about this little trickster. Then go back to the little trickster. I thought about myself. And I thought about my wife, Trista, old Jacob. You want to know how she Jacob me? You all got some Jacob, some trickster in your life. When we was getting together, she used to cook me juicy cake. Make that juicy cake. Okay. That's juicy. You know my juicy cake. Every Sunday come over, she know I like that. She had that juicy cake. Get into my stuff. But that wasn't the ketchup. She know how to get me. And once she got me, that's what the trick about right there. I asked if I could this juice. I don't feel like that. I'm trying. See, brother? That's that Jacob right there. But I tell you what, not only was she the Jacob, I was the Jacob too. What I did, on a Saturday night sometimes we would go to Sunday. That's what we love eating now. When we got married, she said, what about Sunday? Look at it home now. Now, I got that. About all of us got some Jacob in us. Think about your Jacob. Everybody. Miss Tracy.
There was a lot of things in my life that needed to be together. And there's some things that already had a foundation. I had straight away. And so after that, then I decided that I would do that.
Okay.
I decided to think where he had.
All right. We all got to think. Have you ever noticed? I hear preachers say, praying to Father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, I wonder why do they say that? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Do you ever wonder why they say that? You never hear them say Abraham, Israel, Jacob. Wonder why? Simple. Because he made the promise to who? Abraham. He made the promise to Isaac. And he made the promise to Jacob. So that's why you said Abraham, Isaac, and who? Jacob there. Think about that. What's the separation?
I come to bow head and no heart.
Oh, Marty.
Thank you because you brought me this far.
Wow. Well, look at here. You're going to preach this morning. We're going to hold that preach. All right. Let's do it. Yeah. That's all right. Here. Nothing wrong with that. Good. Here we go. The next one. It says, struggle with self. Now we have struggled with God. We know last week she told me I was struggling with God, looking. Now I'm going to struggle with self, looking. So here we go. Struggle with self. When you struggle with self, what are you doing? You're looking at those things of the flesh. That's the struggle with self. What are some of the things of the flesh that you're struggling with? Everything that's not what God said. Adultery, idolatry, all those things of the flesh. Lying, cheating, those are the things of the flesh, which is struggling with yourself. You know, all our life we have a struggle with self. As we begin here, Rita, what do we have for the next one?
And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob.
Now, we said this.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed.
All right. Now, and he said unto him, who's talking out to him? Who is this talking? This is God talking to Jacob. So who is this? You want to know thy name. And you know all the time, what have Jacob done? Jacob had tricked, and Jacob had what? Lied. Which one? When did he lie? When he came to his daddy, what did he, who he say, boy? He said, who is it? Esau. What was that boy right there? I lied. See how he lied all the time? Now here's one time when he asked Jacob, what's thy name? And what did he say? His name is who? Jacob. So one time, Jacob had told the truth. All the other times, Jacob had lied, he had deceived, and he told the truth. Now when did that come to play? When he got to wrestle with God. You see how when you wrestle with God, how God can change you? You don't have to wrestle with God, but when you get down to your lowest, that's when you have a wrestle with God. That's when God can move in. When you realize that God can move into your life, then you become a changed person. Look what he told him there. He told him his truth, the only time he told the truth. And he said that he knew who this person was. He said that friend. Now Jacob had gone over man. He said Jacob had gone over God. But he didn't really win over God because God had changed him through this wrestling match. Do you have to wrestle for God to be changed? Question to yourself. Do you have to wrestle for God to be changed? You shouldn't have to wrestle for God to be changed. But what do we do? Some of us don't change until God come in. Sometimes God has to break us down. He don't have to break a limb, but he can break you so down you wish your limb was broken. That's what happened right here. Can you do it? She said the struggles of life will make you go to God. What are some of the struggles of life? Let's go back. The most hard in the church. Tell me they won't make you struggle. Tell me they won't make you go to God. Then the next thing he said, your bill. Tell me they won't make you go to God. When that bill will come so fast that you don't know how to pay it, who you going to? You going to God. So what is that? That's one of those struggles in life. That means God has what? He got to break you down in order to bring you back up. And that reason just said right there. Read them. What the next tell us?
And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there.
Look at Jacob. Jacob want to know who is he wrestling. I wonder if he had told Jacob he was God, what he would have done. I tell you what he would have done. He would have told everybody. Last night, y'all, I had wrestled with God. Don't you think? When we do that, something like that, we do the same thing. That's why he did that. Why do you need to know my name? You don't need to know my name, but I want you to bless me. So what happened, Reba? On that next one, what it tell us?
And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
He done wrestled this man, and he said he has seen God face to face. Now, a question comes to my mind, has anybody ever seen God? John tells us no one has seen God. So what is Jacob talking about? The angel? Anybody? If no one's seen God, but Jacob just said that he saw him face to face. So what's wrong with that? He saw what? The manifestation of God, which was the pre-incarnation of who? Somebody said, Jesus. And who is Jesus? God. Jesus is God's spoken word. So when he said he wrestled with God, he wrestled and he saw God, he saw the pre-incarnation of Jesus. And you think about it, what happened? What time was it he wrestled with? At night. So who can you see at night? Nobody. So did he see him? He didn't see him. He saw a pre-incarnation of Jesus there, but he was wrestling with the wind all night. And he said that no man, John tells us that no man can see God. But then again, it said God appeared 3 times. And they still didn't recognize who God was because it was a pre-incarnation of his son, Jesus, because that's nothing but God's spoken word. When you read about it, it said God speaks and Jesus doesn't. The spoken word. That's what right there when you say it right here. He said he wrestled with God. He wrestled with the pre-incarnation, which was Jesus, God's son that night. And someone said, no, it wasn't like that. It was. He wrestled somebody because what happened to him? His hip got broke. His hip got broke. So he had a wrestle with God all night to get this blessing that God was looking for him. Not only did that, when he got to wrestle with it, there's something else he said. The place that he wrestled, he gave it a name there because he had seen God face to face. How can you imagine it? Seeing God, you wrestle with him, and God bless you, then God changed the name. This time we come up with the next power. When you look at that name, what is that, Rita? What we got?
And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh.
He wasn't going to stop. He had a hold on to God. He said, I'm not going to stop God. Now look at him. There's not a man there. He got a hug on God and said, turn me loose. I'm not going to do it, God. I'm not going to turn you loose until you do what? Until you bless me. Bless me, Lord, and then I'm going to turn you loose. What we said? That song said, all night.
All day.
All day. I pray the Lord to do what? To bless me. just keep on blessing me. When does it happen? All the time you want the Lord to bless you. Do you stop asking for your blessing? Keep on blessing me. I'm going to hold on to the Lord. No matter what happens, I'm going to hold on to his song that unchanging hand. When you hold on to God unchanging hand, no matter how tough it is, you just hold on to what you got. Jacob, he wasn't going to let God go until God did what? Bless him. I'm not going to turn you loose, God. Someone else would have turned him loose. But Jacob said, I'm not going to do it. Because I want this blessing. Now, through that blessing, Rita, who became up from that blessing?
Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew with strength, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and the sinew their strength.
That's what we said earlier. They would not eat that. Well, through Jacob. Who came through Jacob? The children of Israel. He said he's going to change his name from Jacob to who? Israel. Why? Israel means that he fought with God. Jacob means that he was nothing but a what? Deceiver, trickster. So you no longer be doing that. But you know what came to my mind when I read that? I thought about the people that God changed their name, and they no longer use their name. Look what happened. When he said to Abraham, we never read about Abraham anymore. When he said Sarai to Sarah, we never read about Sarah. Then he said from Saul to Paul. One time later, you read about that. You never mention them more. But who do we read about? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You always hear that Jacob. Why do you hear about that? Because Jacob is still here. I see some Jacobs out here. You see a Jacob in me. I see some Jacobs in you. Because we all have done something like Jacob. But the good thing about that, who can come in? Did he come in on Jacob? What did he do? When he broke him, then Jacob realized that was God. And they said that from that they no longer eat that sinew. That's that muscle that runs through the body. They don't eat that muscle anymore. But we said we eat everything we eat. Yeah. Now, what about that? Is that true? About us eating? They have that respect. We don't have it. All we're going to do is just what? Eat. But they don't eat it anymore because of what happened to Jacob back there. Jacob changed. Now, the question comes up, are you a seed of Abraham? Where you are. How do you become a seed of Abraham? By trusting in God and what? Believing in God. That's how you become a seed of Abraham. You remember them old Pharisees and Sadducees said they were the seed of Abraham? And Jesus told them what? No, you're not. Because if you don't believe and trust in God, you're not a seed of Abraham. So if you're a seed of Abraham now, by a spiritual seed, you're not reborn, you are a spiritual seed of Abraham now. So we all are spiritual. We all supposed to be. Thank you. Our seed of Abraham through our spiritual connection there. Now, the question come up. Anybody else got something to say here? There's a question. The question says, what hinders us from a knowledge that some of the struggles and difficulties we encounter are self-initiated? Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to acknowledge my wrongdoing. David said we are. What hinders us from doing that? When do we acknowledge our wrongdoing? When we repent. That's what you're supposed to do. When you do wrong, you are supposed to what? Repent. And that's what God will forgive you. But how many of us can do it and keep on doing it? Very few. But in order for you to get that right road that you're looking for, what you got to do? You got to repent. And when that happens, when you pray and when you are doing wrong, you need to repent because that's when God moves, when you repent. Some people that repent, they hold all that grudge in them. What happened to him? His brother kept that grudge in him for how many years? 20 years. And you wonder about some people, man, they hate somebody. 20 years he kept that grudge in him. I know we was at the hospital one time, and a woman told my wife, said, me and my sister had spoken 20 years. She said, you all have spoken 20 years? I said, yeah. So what's the problem? I got a husband, man. She got her brother-in-law and married. She married her sister husband. They had spoken 20 years. What do we have? Grudges. She kept that grudge. What do we have right here? Esau had a grudge how many years? 20 years. You see how long we keep grudges in us? She took her sister husband married. Then she want to know why her sister didn't like it. Why you don't like it? Why would you don't like it? Why would you do? I text her. You got a husband, you talking about, I don't know why my sister don't like me. I know why her sister don't like me. She got a husband. But that's the thing that we do and how we hold grace. And how we say the things that, what's hindering you? Would that be a hindrance for her? Right there. Oh, said, yeah, you're fasting, that's all there. So the thing that we do, how long was it? 20 years. Spain. Esau had that grudge in him. What he said, after my parents died, I'm coming out there. So Jacob was on the run from his own brother. Because what he did, he was bringing down the church. He stole his birthright, he stole his brother's blessing. Some of us have got some stuff in us that we had since we were children. Against somebody. What do we need to do? Forgive. Let God work it out for us. Because we can't do it. But we'll hold it. You know, we talk about that now, that's how we hold stuff. Just keep on holding. And you know what's going to happen. You keep holding that and you leave them. You know where you're going. You got to forgive. But we want God to forgive us, but we won't forgive. So this lesson this morning was about the trickster. And the trickster got caught up in his own trick. So we said, when you're a trickster, folks, in your mind that you think you're doing, you're not tricking anybody. Because God already has a plan. And his plan was right here. Now I wonder how God had a plan for him. Jacob. All the things Jacob done. But what to do? When God rescued him and changed Jacob, who do we come up with? Israel. Those were God chosen people. Who did Israel come from? Noah's son. Seth. Look at how we have here. When you think about all that there and put it together, that let us know that what we got to do. Get our house in divine order while we are here. Because we only here for just a short time. If you don't get it together here, you won't get it together up there. God has to rescue us sometimes to break us down. Break our own stuff down. Because what do we have? We have so much self-pride. When you move pride out of the way and let God come in, that's when God begins to change you and begin to build his thing. He had to rescue God in order for God to get his thing. Because he was too proud, he was a liar, he was deceitful, but God broke him down. You should let God break you down in order to do right. That's my last thought for the day. And I'm going to sit down with that thought.
Yes, he do. Well, y'all, I was.